You wake up, and for a brief second, before your thoughts fully arrive, there is a strange feeling you can't name. A quiet discomfort, not pain, not sadness, something more subtle, like your life fits you, but not perfectly, like a suit you've worn for so long that you forgot it was tailored by someone else. And then the day begins, and the feeling disappears under routine, responsibility, noise, and distraction. But it always returns. Carl Jung would have called this not confusion, but awareness. A signal from something deeper inside you that refuses to fully accept the life you are living as completely your own. Because according to Jung, most people are not living. They are performing. Not in a dramatic sense, but in a psychological one. They are acting out roles built from childhood expectations, cultural pressure, family projections, fear of rejection, and unconscious imitation of the people around them. And the most disturbing part is this: they believe the role is their identity. Jung called this constructed identity the persona, the mask you wear to function in society, the version of you that is acceptable, liked, rewarded, and socially safe. The persona is not evil. It is necessary. Without it, you cannot navigate the world. But the danger begins when the mask becomes the self, when the actor forgets he is acting, when the role becomes so familiar that the original face beneath it is no longer remembered. And this is where most people remain for their entire lives. They become fluent in their mask, but illiterate in their own inner world. They know how to behave, how to respond, how to be accepted, but they do not know who is observing all of it from within. And beneath the persona, Jung said, lies something far more uncomfortable: the shadow. The shadow is everything you were taught not to be, everything you rejected in order to be loved. Your anger, your selfishness, your desire, your envy, your vulnerability, your ambition, even your brilliance in forms that were not allowed to exist. The shadow is not dark because it is evil. It is dark because it is hidden. And what is hidden does not disappear. It grows stronger in silence. It leaks into behavior. It shapes decisions without permission. It influences attraction, fear, jealousy, insecurity, and even the way you interpret other people. Most importantly, it projects outward, meaning the traits you refuse to see in yourself become the traits you notice and judge most in others. This is why Jung believed self-knowledge is not about becoming better. It is about becoming whole. But wholeness is not comfortable, because to become whole, you must retrieve everything you discarded about yourself just to survive socially. You must look at the parts of you that were buried not because they were false, but because they were inconvenient. And this is where most people stop. They prefer the comfort of identity over the chaos of truth. They prefer being a type of person rather than discovering what lies beyond all labels. Because labels feel stable, labels feel safe. But safety is not the same as truth. And here is where the illusion deepens. The modern world does not encourage self-discovery. It encourages self-definition. It tells you who you are supposed to be before you even ask the question. It feeds you roles: successful, strong, funny, religious, rebellious, logical, emotional, leader, follower. And slowly, without noticing, you begin to arrange your personality around expectations instead of awareness. You start editing yourself in real time. You learn which version of you gets approval and which version gets rejected. And over time, the rejected parts don't disappear. they go underground. And what goes underground begins to control you from beneath your awareness. Jung called the process of healing from this fragmentation individuation. The journey of becoming what you truly are, not what you were shaped to be. But individuation is not a motivational idea. It is a confrontation. It begins when you stop asking, "Who should I be?" and start asking, "What am I actually being?" when no one is watching. And this question is where most people feel resistance, because it removes external authority and places responsibility inward. It forces you to accept that your life, your choices, your patterns, your relationships are not random. They are expressions of your unconscious structure. And the unconscious is not silent. It speaks through repetition. The same types of relationships, the same emotional conflicts, the same self-sabotage at critical moments, the same attraction to things that harm you and avoidance of things that would grow you. Jung believed nothing is accidental in the psyche. Everything is symbolic. Everything is communication, even suffering, especially suffering. Because suffering often appears when the life you are living and the life your inner self is demanding begin to diverge too far from each other. And yet, the paradox is this: the more disconnected you are from yourself, the more successful your persona can appear externally. You can be admired and still feel internally displaced. You can be respected and still feel unknown to yourself. You can be surrounded by people and still feel like something essential is missing from your own experience of living. And that missing thing is not outside of you. It is you, unrecognized. This is why Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Because what you do not understand about yourself will always feel like something happening to you instead of something coming from you. And that shift, from life happening to you to life being expressed through you, is where the real beginning happens. Not the beginning of external success, but the beginning of internal alignment. And alignment changes perception. You begin to notice where you are over-adapting, where you are performing instead of expressing, where you are agreeing instead of understanding, where you are shrinking instead of expanding. And at first, this awareness is uncomfortable because it disrupts your identity. But over time, it creates something more stable than identity: clarity. And clarity is dangerous to illusions, because once you see how much of your life has been shaped unconsciously, you cannot unsee it. And this is where the real journey begins. Not in changing everything immediately, but in observing everything honestly. Watching your reactions instead of just living inside them. Noticing your patterns without justifying them. Feeling your emotions without becoming them. Jung's work was never about perfection. It was about integration. Bringing together what was divided. Making the inner world less of a battlefield and more of a dialogue. Because the truth is, you are not one fixed identity. You are a system of competing inner forces trying to reach balance. The mask you show, the shadow you hide, the instincts you suppress, the desires you rationalize, the memories you avoid. All of it is active within you right now, shaping your experience of reality in ways you do not fully control. And the goal is not to eliminate any of it. The goal is to understand it well enough that it no longer controls you unconsciously. And when that begins to happen, something subtle but irreversible shifts. You stop living entirely for approval. You stop fearing disapproval as if it defines your existence. You stop confusing comfort with truth. And slowly, the life you are living begins to feel less like something assigned to you and more like something you are consciously participating in. Because the real meaning behind Jung's idea is not that your life is fake. It is that your awareness of your life is incomplete. And when awareness expands, life does not end. It begins again. Not externally, internally. And that is the moment you realize the title is not an accusation. It is an invitation. You are not living a life that isn't yours because someone stole it. You are living a life that isn't fully yours yet because you have not fully met yourself. And the journey ahead is not about escaping your life, but about finally entering it consciously.